Right, so today we're going to make bay leaf tea, and this is something that I started drinking about 3 or 4 years ago, and I probably don't drink as much of it as I should do really. It's loaded with potassium and lots of different nutrients, and it's good for lowering cholesterol, and it's good for lowering your blood pressure. So here's our rather large bay bush here, so we're going to pick some leaves and then take through the very simple process of making bay leaf tea. So I'm going to pick roughly between half a dozen and 10 leaves, and this is a great plant, this, to have in your garden. I mean, it's brilliant for not only for making teas with. There's lots of sort of herbal uses for it, and culinary uses. It's good for stews, casseroles, curries. The leaves dry out easily and they store for ages. Right, so we've just picked around 10 leaves, and we're going to put them in this pan here. And the next stage, sorry, the garden's a bit untidy at the moment, it's that time of the year, autumn going into winter. We're going to put some water in the pan, so I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, so what we've done is, there's our leaves, there's about 10 leaves, we've put 1.5 pints of water in there, and just getting a fire going. I'm going to boil it, so we'll put that on top now, and we're going to boil it for 4 or 5 minutes. And this little area here is where I've started building an outdoor kitchen for cooking and boiling water when I'm gardening and working outside. So I've only just started. Right, so we've got the bench there, we've got this little fire on the go, and we've got a log over there for cutting kindling and wood to go on the fire. But eventually this is going to be a rocket stove oven. So yeah, basically we're going to boil that for we're going to bring it to the boil, and then we're going to let it simmer for 4 or 5 minutes. So we'll come back to you in a few more minutes. Right, so we've got a good fire going there, and the pan's starting to boil, and yeah, it's been a bit of a strange year really. There's an incredible amount of chaos in the world at the moment, and it seems that this collapse that people have been talking about for many decades is definitely happening. There's a sort of a degeneracy and an ethical relativism in the political sphere, where things like climate change, pollution, the collapse of ecosystems, people's well-being being completely ignored for the sake of profit, really, for the profit of greedy individuals that are already wealthy. And what I'm actually doing here, is making this very humble bay leaf tea, is I wouldn't call it a fight against all that, but it's where I've sort of trying to move my life in a different direction, where you sort of get back in tune with the earth, with the plants that keep us alive. Try and live a bit more of a realistic, natural life, where quite a lot of time is spent outdoors. And this isn't a hippie thing really. I mean, I'm a working class guy, and we're living in the middle of a built up council estate in Lancashire here, but we do our best. And just beyond the little fire here, as you can see, we've got our greens, winter green vegetables, and there's a few different sorts of chard in there. There's perennial Welsh onions, kale, and some mustard greens, and then we've got some chives down there, a big roseberry bush, and then just move around a little further, and we've got this bed with its cap protection on the top. That's got overwintering garlic in, and it's just coming up. You probably can't see it, We've also got overwintering garlic in that pot. There's some of the sprouts are a little bit more visible there. And then over here, in this very large pot, we've got some oca tubers. They're a Latin American crop, and they're not going to be coming out until December. So, as you can see, the garden's a bit chaotic at the moment, as you'd expect for the time of the year. We're sort of rolling towards the end of October, and we're heading into winter. So let's just sit back down here and let's see how our bay leaf tea's going. That's coming along nicely, that. Probably be boiled in a few minutes. And one of the things that I'm really concerned about in this this present farcical and insane civilization that we live in, apart from the destruction of the planet, is the destruction of people's sanity and people's well-being. I mean, to go back to the current economic model that's sort of dominating things at the moment, it basically expects people to work 50-60 hours a week just to buy the bare essentials, to buy clothes, food, clothing, keep yourself warm. And people are expected to go along with this rubbish. And it's basically, you know, as many of you are aware, it's a complete con. And underneath this very controlling veneer that the economic model has over us is a semblance of a good life underneath. And really, it's for people to be brave enough and to experiment and to try things and to try and live differently. And that's where it's at, really. And you'll find well-being once you get off the treadmill of the life that industry and commerce wants you to live, and you start looking at what you actually want to do yourself as an awake human being. There's a whole world of possibilities open up to you. And again, you know, I can't emphasize how people should give things a try, start looking at things differently, look at living alternatively. I mean, you know, what a pleasurable thing this is, sat here in the afternoon. I've got a nice little fire in front of me. I'm quite relaxed, and I've got some tea on the fire that's going to be good for my health, that I'm going to be drinking in a few minutes. And you can't buy that, really. No, I'm sure you can somewhere, but yeah, it's definitely worth experimenting and trying different things with your life. I mean, we're only here for 80-90 years, and it's a cruel thing to think that we should waste this on working all the time. It really is. Right, so I'll go and get some more firewood, and then I'll come back to you in a minute. Right, so here we are, we're on a rolling boil, and we'll let the fire die down now. We're about 2 minutes into the boil. We'll give it another 2 or 3 minutes. And then we'll have a cup of tea. A cup of this really healthy, medicinal, quite tasty as well, bay leaf tea. It tastes a little bit, as you'd expect, like a little bit like a soup, I'd say. But then again, it is used in stews and soups. And we'll just leave that a minute. And this bay leaf bush that we've got here was bought about 10 years ago for £2. And it's not far off. It's probably about 9.5, 10 foot high now. And we've had absolutely tons of leaves off it this year. And there'll be many more to come. So we'll just have while we're waiting for the further 2 minutes, we'll just have a bit of a scoot around the garden. As I say, there's not a great deal going on. This is the white grapes this year. This didn't crop, but this did. And this is the Italian red vine. I can't remember the name of the grape particularly, but we managed to make a gallon wine out of it this year. So let's have a quick mooch round. And here's a cherry tree, still got its leaves on. We've made 2 gallons of cherry wine, and there's still tons of cherries left in the freezer. And there's our compost bin there at the bottom of the cherry tree. Adds to the fertility of the tree, really healthy tree. we'll just have a quick look at these raised beds around here. And we've got overwintering onions in this one, and we've got shallots in this one. And I mentioned in a previous video where I've got these covered because the cats like to poo literally anywhere where they see a bit of soil, don't you, Arthur? And there's one of the cats there. Arthur, he's a shy lad sometimes. He's walking off. And then around here, there's the pond. Frogs in there most of the time. Now this tray here, I found this tray a couple of weeks ago in an alleyway, quite deep. And we planted overwintering garlic in this today. So we're going to have a good crop of that next year. And yeah, everything's very chaotic and in need of a prune and a trim. So these beans here, these runner beans, and we've left them like this because usually when you eat these you cut the whole plant up, but I'm after the beans inside. So I'll be cropping these the next few days. And why more people don't do this in Great Britain is beyond me. The beans are bigger than a kidney bean. They're absolutely loaded with protein, and they're great if you're on a plant-based diet. You know, it's to grow protein in this country is a great thing, really, and it's very, very much worth it. So anybody wanting to do this, all you do is you let your runner beans grow over until the cases start to dry out, and then you crop your beans off them. It's as simple as that, really. And then over here we've got, these are our carrots. There's all sorts in here, different types of carrots. I'm not sure that they're ready yet. We'll just have a grope round in the soil. Not quite ready, but I think we'll get a crop off them. Oh wait a minute, what have we got here? So there we have the little Chantenay carrot. And these are great. You can get 3 or 4 crops of these a year if you time it well. And they're a lovely, sweet little carrot. Right, so let's go back and let's have some of this lovely bay leaf tea. Fire's gone right down, you should expect. Yeah, and it's just changed colour slightly, so that's ready. So thanks very much for watching this video, and look after each other, and like I say, try and find different ways of living. The planet's relying on it, your sanity's relying on it, and everything else is relying on it. And we don't have to follow the examples set to us by mainstream economic models and mainstream thinking, which is basically failing everything. So yeah, I hope you all have a good winter. Look after each other, like I say, and we'll see you very soon. Over and out.